So we have already set our VTA, meaning that this wall here along the side being flush against the tone arm has markers that are completely parallel to the tone arm. And we have set our tracking force, the weight with a digital scale has been set. Now we have to check our azimuth. What that means is that looking from the front, where we have these reference lines, you have to see whether or not your head shell, and especially the cartridge itself, is completely horizontal on this reference wall. Additionally, the cantilever for the needle has to be completely perpendicular to these same lines. I again recommend you use your smartphone, take a photograph so you can really zoom in to see it properly. Very well. If you find, for example, that your cartridge is a little bit high on the right side as you're looking at it from the front, bring it over to its resting place to avoid damage to your needle. Again, if your cartridge is a bit high on the right side, you need to bring it down. The way that you bring it down is that from behind, you go to your left. So basically, if it's high on the right side, you twist your counterweight to the left. That will bring more weight on this side because it's an eccentric cylinder, and brings it down. You go back and you check again against the reference lines in front. Once you have eyeballed it and you're very close, then again, I recommend a photograph. You'll have to go back and forth a few times. Again, all these are fine settings that are very important. And we'll have just one more reference point, which is these lines on the grid where the cartridge outer body needs to be aligned with those same lines so that this position matches the grid below. Once you've done that, you have 1 second reference point to simulate the inward movement of the needle along the vinyl disc. When you do that, you do have to move your protractor out a little bit, again to find the location where the needle needs to fall and the marker, and that's in a marker. And then you again check the side walls of the head of the cartridge and see if they are aligned with the grids that are engraved. It might not be 100%, and that's because there is a small variation that's allowed. It's a parameter. So you have a fine and very tight range, but it's not 100% aligned with both of them. That's because you have that inward movement. So that's fine. You just want to get to the closest point on average for both. Your primary reference point, though, is the first one that I mentioned earlier. All right, we'll go on to the next section to finalize the setup.